All right, hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today I'm bringing you my out-of-the-box first impressions of the Hoka Torrent 2. All right, so the Hoka Torrent 2 is my first non-ultra trail shoe in like 5 years. Actually, probably longer than that because I was wearing the Lone Peaks for a couple years before I joined the red team. So this might be like 6 or 7 years since I've worn a non-ultra trail shoe. And just so you know, disclosures out of the way, I did pay for this shoe with my own money. And these are my honest opinions. All right, and to give you some stats right away, the stack height in the back is 26 millimeters, in the front 21 millimeters, so that's a 5 millimeter drop. Also, Running Warehouse website lists this as being 9.1 ounces for the size 9. When I weighed it, it was actually 10.53 ounces for the size 11.5. I grabbed my superiors and they came in at 10.78 ounces, so just like like almost like a quarter of an ounce heavier. So I got curious and I just grabbed all my ultra trail shoes because I've got this scale now. The Timp 2 was 11.3 ounces, the Lone Peak was 11.9 ounces, and the Olympus was 13.31 ounces. And I've always considered the Superior to be a really light trail shoe. I've always picked it when I wanted something like quick and nimble on my feet, but I guess I didn't realize that it wasn't like that light compared to a lot of other shoes that I could have been wearing. So to say that this shoe, the Torrent 2, is lighter than the Superior, like, it's really blowing me away right now. And I will say that I did weigh it with the Stone Guard in the Superior, so it's probably a little bit lighter. You take that out. But I've always worn the Stone Guard, so I'm just kind of like comparing like what I'm used to. Superior seemed like a super light trail shoe, and now this is lighter, so that's just crazy. It's also a neutral shoe, so it's not going to try and correct you as you step. And with the amount of cushioning that it has, it's definitely a moderate, like middle of the road cushioning. It's not max, it's not minimal. It's kind of right there in the middle. First run in the shoe, I feel like I was really able to put it through its paces. I did 10 miles, 5,000 feet. It's about 3.5 hours long. First run in a shoe, 3.5 hours, like that's a long time to be in a shoe for the first time. But I really wanted to kind of like push this first run a little bit with them. I didn't want to just kind of like do like 3 or 4 miles and then like try and give you guys my opinion after my first run. Like I wanted to actually feel this shoe and, kind of like see what it had. There was a lot of rocks, a lot of roots. It was steep. It was muddy. There was leaves everywhere. Lots of fast descending, lots of climbing. I was able to get up to pretty much my top speed, like on a gravel road as well. So I was really able to feel this midsole and kind of like what it's giving you back, which was really exciting actually. So let's talk about the upper. This is an engineered mesh with seamless overlays. So meaning pretty much the whole shoe is just one piece of fabric all around. On the inside, you are getting a little bit of like the heel cup, like the extra padding and everything. There is a fabric line that stops on each side, but I didn't feel that at all. Once you get past that into the midfoot and the toes, it's just seamless. Like there's no fabric overlaying, there's no stitching, no nothing. It's just like really smooth on the inside. I did actually start out without using this extra eyelet, and right at the very end I did relace, and it really did help with locking my heel back in the heel cup. That was something that it wasn't like causing problems like with the lacing, but adding that really did help with the shoe. As far as the fit goes, the heel felt really good. It felt really locked in. Moving to the midfoot, nice, tight, snug. Like I didn't feel like I was moving around at all in there, except towards the very, very end. I did feel like on some like really tight corners, I was feeling like the shoe like rolled just a little bit, but it probably had to do with not having these laces locked in. And coming from Ultra, the fit through the forefoot and the toes was tighter, but it wasn't a bad thing. I didn't have any really uncomfortableness until the very end, like right in here, I was feeling a little bit of like rubbing like right at the base of my big toe. But all in all, the fit was great. Like I didn't have to size up or size down. So far with Ultra and Hoka, I wear the same size, so that's great. All right, so let's talk about a few parts of the shoe specifically. First off, the heel. This heel cup really fit my foot really well. I wasn't getting any weird ankle rub or anything like that. Like the cut is just really nice. Didn't have any problems with my Achilles on the first run. Like I said a couple times, adding this lacing system right there at the very end did feel like it helped. The heel cup is pretty firm. Like the plastic stops right here above this light orange, right before, kind of like right as it gets into the dark orange. And for me, that just like felt really nice. Like I had no issues with the heel at all. And I like it when the tongue is just like barely above the top of the laces. The laces over the top are actually really nice. Like they kind of feel like almost like paracord. Like if you've ever been like camping or anything, you use like cord to like tie down your tent or anything, like that's kind of like what it feels like. They never came untied, they never loosened. It's just like it's a really nice material, stayed locked really well. And then moving on to the forefoot. This is where it kind of starts getting dirty because I actually did use this shoe on trails. So surprise, they get dirty. That's one of the kind of negative things about buying like bright colored shoes is they get dirty instantly. But yeah, forefoot. I would prefer just a tiny bit of extra room right here because I was developing like a little tiny hot spot that probably could have turned into a blister had I gone like another couple hours. Right there where my first metatarsal meets my big toe. But overall, the fit through the midfoot is really nice. Like I'm used to my foot kind of moving around inside of my shoe, and maybe I just have like a little bit more narrow feet than like typical ultra users, runners. That wasn't the case with this. Like it was just like locked down. The only thing going downhill, I did notice my foot just gradually sliding forward just a little bit, but that was like really steep stuff, kind of going at speed, and then trying to really like stop towards the bottom. But all that being said, I did feel really like tight and really secure in this shoe. Like my foot felt like it wasn't going anywhere. There wasn't any bunching of material. Like everything just kind of stayed where it was supposed to be, and it just felt really good on the first run. Okay, so moving on to the midsole, the foam, the cushion, the stack. This is Hoka's ProFly system. And what that means is that it's actually a little bit extra cushion in the back and a little bit firmer in the front. I noticed it like big time. And it did kind of feel like when I was going downhill or when I did a little bit of hiking or walking or something, like the heel did feel really nice and cushiony. And I could definitely feel like transitioning to the front, like it just kind of felt like I was kind of being like launched off a little bit. And that wasn't something that I was used to. I was kind of used to shoes, especially being this type of a stack height, squishing in the back and then squishing in the front. And then, you know, like losing a bit of energy in that. But I think with this system, extra cushion in the back and a little bit firmer in the front, it does kind of help you save a little bit of your energy. Now this is just on my first run, first impressions. Like I will have to use this shoe a lot more to see if I continue to agree with this statement, but I feel like it was saving me a little bit of energy. And the forefoot is not firm by my standard at all. Like it did still feel like very cushioned up front, but there is a difference from the back to the front. And it's noticeable. It's nice. And the midsole of the Torrent 2 is really responsive. I felt like what my foot was trying to do was translated through the shoe to the trail. I felt like when I wanted to give it a little more gas, the shoe was actually helping me with that. I felt like when I was trying to stop, slow down, when I was trying to take corners, like it just felt like what I was trying to do was actually happening. And not all shoes are like that. And the 5mm drop of the midsole wasn't that noticeable until I started running downhill. And then it was kind of like someone gave me a shot of caffeine and I was being rocketed down the hill because like what I expected my foot to feel like when I was hitting the ground, it was tilted forward just a little bit more. And so I wasn't getting exactly what I was expecting when I hit the ground. And so my senses were just like on alert, and it like everything was heightened, and it just felt like I felt like I was on a roller coaster. That might sound like I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I was also like running downhill like really fast on steep terrain, trails, rocks, and roots. I mean, it was kind of scary, kind of exciting. But yeah, I will definitely, like, it's going to take me some time to get used to running in some shoes that have a little bit of a drop, and this is not even that much. 5mm, it's not that much. Like, so it's just gonna take some time to get used to it, I think. And the outsole. So Hoka says that this is a marbled sticky rubber, strategically placed where you need traction the most. There's a little bit of foam exposed right here in the middle, and then just a couple spots like throughout, but Honestly, almost the whole thing is rubber, which is good for a trail shoe. I mean, you need that. And the lugs on the bottom of this are great. Like the length is like just perfect for running on dry trails. Definitely, like this is going to handle technical trails, rocks and roots really well when it's dry. There's plenty of them. You don't feel like you're running in cleats. It's just a really awesome outsole for dry conditions. But as soon as you get into some mud, this cakes up super fast. Like just 2 or 3 steps into some mud and the whole thing was solid. And I was kind of like sliding off the trail. So that's just something to be aware of. Most trail shoes do this though. Like I'm not saying anything negative about this, but I would definitely not consider these to be like really good for running in mud. All right, so that's it for talking about specific parts of the shoe. Next, let's talk about the price. I paid $120 for this shoe, and after my first run, I'm okay with that. Like this shoe, I feel like is priced fairly for the build quality and just how it feels right out of the box. I don't have any complaints. So to wrap this up, my kind of final thoughts on my first impression, the inside of the shoe says lightweight and nimble, and that's perfectly accurate. I think this shoe seems like it's really well suited for faster runners who want a really light shoe, move through technical terrain pretty easily, and a shoe that responds really well to what you're trying to do. The ProFly cushion was really impressive with the being a little bit more cushion in the back, a little bit more firmer in the front. I think for faster runners, this could definitely be like a 50 to 100 mile shoe, but I think for most of us, this will probably be like a trail marathon shoe, 50K, possibly even 50 miler. I'm gonna keep wearing this shoe. It was really fun to run in. I'll give you guys kind of my full review at 50 miles. And I don't think it's gonna take too long to get there because this shoe felt really good. As long as my foot can kind of get used to the a little bit tighter forefoot, this was a really fun shoe to run in. But that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing because I'm gonna be doing a ton more shoe reviews this year. Moving forward, like it's gonna start getting crazy. I'm so excited, I'm so pumped. I've got a race coming up in just a couple weeks, the OPSF 50K down in Southern Indiana. It's gonna be a pretty tough race. And then I also have the Cruel Jewel 100 miler coming up May 14th. One of the hardest, most ridiculous 100 milers in the country. I'm doing it, I'm training for it right now. So subscribe and follow along. And with that, I will see you guys again soon. Bye.